this morning's live, and I know this probably isn't pushed around too great this morning, which is fine. We're going to do the best we can to get as many people as possible in here. Let me get some light into here. Hold on one sec. There we go. A little bit easier to see me, so make sure we get this this morning live going. Right now, we're on the verge of a potential breakout, which we're going to talk about here this morning very clearly. We're at that, I don't want to say make it or break it spot, but we're definitely in a spot in this chart where it becomes opportunistic if you are paying attention to the, let's just say, the zones that we're set up in. It's becoming very opportunistic at this point in time. So I'm looking through this. I want to just make sure I can see all the comments. It's going to be very interesting this morning, I think. Very interesting. I think where the charting is set up right now, we have an opportunity to break out. We will talk about this as the morning goes on. We've had a few different things setting up here where the market technically is not looking the greatest right now. But we're going to look at this universally, and we're going to see if it dictates a response here this morning. So I thank everybody for tuning in. I'm going to share this universally because on this Saturday morning, it didn't show on my tablet that I was live. It didn't show on my phone or the tablet I have next to me that's on Julie's account so that I can see what everybody's saying. So I'll just create a post and just say we're live, join, active, breakout, discussion. Because we very well could have a nice breakout here today. We have the last of a thinly traded weekend, but we also have to remember it's the 29th of November, which means we have one day. And then we're going to have to start talking about this escrow dump for XRP, which Ripple is going to release 1 billion tokens. Would it be an opportunistic time for the market to rally up? Very well could. But that's something we're going to discuss during this live. I'm going to do this in a very professional way this morning. We're going to keep our voices down. I'm not going to talk at you. I'm going to talk with you. We're going to walk together here. And then we got to go deal with some business today. My brother's going to pick me up. As you know, as we go into the intro, we know what today is. Good morning. 9:27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Saturday, November 29th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Since you hear that in the background, you know what today is. It's the game, Michigan versus Ohio State. We'll see if we can continue with 5 straight against Ohio State, or if the world comes crashing down today. So it's nut crunching time. The balls are tightening in Ann Arbor and Columbus, and we're only hours away from kickoff at noon. Not that most of you care, but it is the most electrifying moment in sports, and it's an honor to be a part of it as a Michigan Wolverine. So, hail to the champion, but nobody cares. So we just have to start it out like that. Last 4 years have been good. The first year I did this, not so good. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Every year I've been on YouTube, Michigan's won. So, you know, I had to come on YouTube to break the streak. So let me get into the see who's on right now. I don't even know how many people are watching. Half of Columbus probably left. So let's see. Let me say good morning to some of my friends, and then we'll get into this chart because we are legitimately on breakout watch. I know it sounds crazy because of the escrow dump. We are on breakout watch. And once we got over this area, we're back testing the move right now. Oh, it would be spectacular if we could break out of here. In fact, if you're looking for a trade, this is the cream of the crop right now. If we get over this little channel area, it opens up the target to that short-term push to the 4-hour time frame, which I think is legitimate. We talked about yesterday. We thought we would consolidate yesterday like Quant did the day before. And now today should be a little bit of a time for us to rally. Heading into the escrow dump coming up. It seems like now could be that time. We've got, with Axelar, we've got a couple different things that I'm looking at here. Epic's back testing that move out now, which if we're going to hold, it's very close, ladies and gentlemen. We're very close across the board. So Epic If we can hold a back test at 60 cents would be phenomenal. If we can hold instead of breaking this all the way down, because we talked about it, we could have a minor pull down here. Somebody asked me yesterday if they should buy Axler at 13.30, and I said absolutely not, because I wanted to see how far this would trace down. And we don't know where the exact spot would be, but it broke down out of here from 13.30 like we figured. It's given a better opportunity. It's down 4% now. Massively oversold. I would say this is a better spot to look than yesterday. Now you would expect us to back test this move at about 13.20, 13.30 if it's going to have continuation down. We could get hot this morning across the board. It's possible. And we have to talk about a serious issue with silver in a good way. They halted the CME yesterday, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. They halted silver futures yesterday. It's the first time I've seen this since 2014. And I'm pretty sure if you go back to, I think it was November 14th or November 20th. I can't remember the exact date, but it was all the way back in 2014. And this halt seems to be greater than the one that they did in the futures on 10 years ago. The other big news was Pan America Silver broke out of a 30-year pattern, and it made a new all-time high on Friday. Silver miners are crushing it. Our silver miners ripped it up on Friday. Hecla was up 5.5 almost. Pan America 7.25. First Majestic up 12.75%. Fortuna was up 3.69. I still think it's lagging a little bit. Silvercorp mining almost at $8 now, up 8.6% Friday, and Dolly Varden up 14.3%. You haven't seen nothing yet. It's that simple. We haven't seen nothing yet. We think we have, but we haven't. We're looking at a in the moment breakout right now on possibly XRP. I would love to see what some of my commenters are saying. We've got half of you hitting the like button. Any of my fans in Michigan here, go blue. If 1970 Legends watching, my balls are tightening just as much as yours this morning. I understand. It's oh, what a beautiful time to be alive. Well, maybe when you guys see me later, it might not be so beautiful. Starting tomorrow, I fully expect to be back on 2 lives a day. If not tomorrow, Monday for sure. As you know, my son was getting over sick. He's back to healthy. He's eating normal by mouth. He's drinking. Everything's back to normal. So hopefully we'll be back in a good mindset for school Monday. We're very blessed that we could nurse him back to health. As you know, last year he spent the better part of a month in the hospital, which was no fun. But now we understand his needs with, he has his G-tube, so we didn't need to seek extra help. We were able to nurse him back to health ourselves. Obviously, outside of getting an antibiotic for his sickness. He started with like an inner ear infection. His sister got pneumonia. He ended up with like a flu, which was not fun. But he's recovering now, and I'm very, very blessed that he's in good health now. So, you know, it's going to be an exciting day. Obviously, I didn't have to do this live this morning, but I had to. I wanted to. I didn't have to. I never have to do anything. Just remember that. I don't have to do anything. I love doing this. I think people get it twisted a little bit. They're like, oh, why do you come on every day? It's like, I fucking love it. There's nothing I'd rather do than come on here with everybody. So it's either you can look at this in one of two ways, because I'm going to get asked this morning, Tom, if I'm looking for some kind of opportunity here, do I take a trade? Do I not take a trade? I don't know what to do. And what I would suggest, okay, we're here this morning watching, and this is the way I would look at it. I think we're going to break out here, more than likely. I think we did exactly what we needed to do last night. And you need to measure the benchmark at this 219.76. So right now, I mean, it's in that area. If you're going to make a trade and you're going to take a shot, you've got to know your area of expertise. So right now, we're looking at the support structure very strongly. We're going to hone in on this. We're going to focus on it because it's very, very important. And we need to hold this area. Once you hold this area, it's going to open up the door to this area right here. $2.28. But once you push past here and you hold this 200-day, which would be, it's not 100% you would, but if you can hold that area and all of a sudden you get up on top of here and now you can start pushing back towards, and I like to call this kind of like the parabolic area. If we can get back into the demand zone and get some kind of support, we'll push out of there very quickly. But let's not skip past the micro within the micro. So the first pattern I showed you is the micro. That is the micro of the pattern. That's just the way it goes. It's the micro part of the pattern. And in order to push up to the next level, we have to break the micro part of the pattern. So when you look at this, we have the 220 we talked about, 219.9. Now the next area, assuming we get on top of the 200, would be the $2.41. That's going to be our critical area. I think we got a nice V shape. I think we got a nice inverse left shoulder head. Look like it's possibly getting ready to rotate up. But now we have to find the exact moment inside of the 15, 30, like 15's oversold. Beautiful. That's a beautiful sign. 15-minute golden cross, 50 crossed 100 to get some confirmation or signaling a breakout or reversal possibility. The 100's about to cross, or the 50's about to cross the 200, which would be confirmation. One could argue that this is the moment of opportunity right now. One could argue that we're in the moment of opportunity. We're in the let's just say the beast of the or the, what do you call it? The belly of the beast right now. So yeah, I'm looking on my phone to see the order books right now, and it looks like there's a lot of orders that are sitting up near 233 if we can get up there, or 230, I should say. So we're really playing a game right now. Either we're breaking out right now in a big way, and this is back testing the move, which looking at the short-term stochastic, 30 minutes rotating down, 15 minutes ready to push up, hourly's rotating down a little bit, but it's still in a good spot. 2 hourly, we're trying to confirm this breakout. I mean, if you're asking me, see how this is set up, it kind of looks like, remember how this looked before the breakout and we talked about it? It looks like we're in this cycle right here where we came up and we were back testing this 2 hour move to try to push out the 4 hour move. Except this broke out. It looks like we're still in the process of trying to make this push right here to back test to push out. It looks like quant is 1 to 1.5 legs ahead of the rest of the market, if I'm being honest with my audience, because it looks like we're consolidating. We're going to break out, and then we'll consolidate the back of this. So if you're asking me, that's what it looks like is going to happen. Now, is it guaranteed? Hell no. Hell to the no. Because there's a lot of volatility. So let me, good morning, Glenn Barlow. Welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Armor for over 1 year at the I Told You So badge. Thank you so much, mate. Says Tom, great work. Good morning from England. Ooh, my fellow friend from England. I love the one. I love my friends from around the world. I can't even front. I love everybody watching. Makes me happy. Makes me happy to have all of you. So this is the volatile back test right now of this breakout of the move at 219.9. This is what you need to see. Went up to 221, 221.5. Pull back down here, see if we can hold this 219.9. Like I said, if this is going to break out, it's going to go quick once it happens. It's not going to be a small breakout, because what ends up happening is they start to spike pretty quickly here, as some of you probably can imagine. So I'm pretty excited to see how this plays out. Now, will I be paying attention to a lot of this as the day goes on? I will. But as you can imagine, during the Michigan-Ohio State game, I couldn't give a rat's ass about the chart. I mean, I'll still look at it, but I really couldn't care a lot. Like right now, I'm in an awkward spot here. As a Michigan fan, I'm in an awkward spot here. Because if you guys are fans of sports and you understand rivalries, this is the one that for 4 years, oh man, this would be the one that this would set it over the top. We'd be in the playoff and I'd come on very, very happy. Oh, if we lose, I'm going to be very, very, it's going to be an interesting day. The Cannabis Podcast, Big Dog, Arichi Farms, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Arm for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. I think I have this, I didn't say it on Thursday, but what am I thankful for? I'm so very thankful for this audience, for each and every one of you that put up with my nonsense, for every single one of you that show up, you show out, you put up or you put out, not in a sexual way, but you put out your portfolio fire if you show up. But we, oh yeah, the Iron Bowl too. Auburn, Alabama's in here. I see somebody War Eagle in here. I know we've got the Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers in the house this morning. I know that for a fact. But yeah, so I am thankful for all of you. Just don't even forget that. Just understand that there is nothing that I'm more proud of that I've built in my own personal life, obviously besides my family. But as far as from a work standpoint, from a dedication standpoint, this community that we've built, it means something special to me. And that's why I come here every single day, regardless. Been doing this since March 24th of 2021. And I can't imagine a single day without doing this. And yeah, it can get a little tedious sometimes with, having a special needs child who's nonverbal and just things that go on in life. But this is the calm. This is like the sense of we can do this together and this is where we need to be. So I thank you all for that. Now let's get off of that. Big Dog, good morning. And I already said hi to you, but good morning anyhow. John Allen, good morning. CJ2 Pilot, good morning. And thanks for being in Town Zone for over 2 years with the XRB 589 Moon Badge. War Eagle, my friend. Brax 95, welcome in. Bearded Viking, good morning, and thanks for being a very loyal member of this audience. I pray for your child's continued recovery and healing process and staying, out of the, let's just say, out of the life of that no child should have to suffer through, as you've had experience with some sickness and even deeper with your child. So I pray for you every single day, you and the little one. And T is doing great. Thank you, Bearded Viking. Like, he's doing really well this morning. I'm very blessed that he's on the right track here this morning, eating and drinking, and he's been able to take all of his fluids and his feedings. And I know it's not the greatest thing, but his poop is starting to form thicker now because, as you can imagine, with no substance, it was kind of interesting. So anyhow, SRT says Wales are expecting another leg down, 91 million short. Oh, there's been multiple. There's been some short, some longs taken out. If there's an overwhelming short positions being taken up, I feel even more confident it's going to go up. But we have to pay attention to the zone I gave out this morning. I think that there's an opportunity hiding below. I still think in the cycle trend right now, a lot of people are being thrown off the scent, which is exactly what we want. The Cannabis Podcast, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's every 6+ months with the Extra B Predictor. You see what I did? I love it. Jordan says he said no one cares. Well, some people care about Michigan, Ohio State, but most don't outside the states. Let's see. Mrs. Stott, welcome in, and thanks for being in town over 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. I greatly appreciate you being in here. It means the world to me. Hope Mr. Stott is doing good as well. Garbanzo, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's over 3+ months with the XP Meteor. I just got the notification 2 minutes ago, so you got it when I sent it out myself, so that's good to know. Let's see if it popped up on the tablet when I sent it out. I didn't even look. Yep, it did. Oh, no, it didn't. Never mind. It didn't even send it to Julie's. I put it out manually. That's funny. Let's see. Jordan, welcome. No, I was repeating what you said. I like Michigan. Let's go, Michigan. Oh, no, I know you were repeating what I said. I was just saying I said that because nobody can. But yeah, you get it. You get it. Shit. Ethereum's right on the border. But the problem is right now, if you're going to take out a trade, I mean, because it's below the support structure, but look, Ethereum's way oversold in the 4-hour. This is almost setting up for the perfect opportunity here if this squeezes. I don't know if it's going to. I mean, we can never be sure, but we're looking at these areas of concern. That's all I was saying. But it's going to be an interesting development here this morning. I firmly believe it's going to be very volatile. Jacoby, thank you so much for the gifted, or I mean for being in Tom's Arm for 12 months plus now and gets that 1-year badge. How awesome is that? Thank you so much for that support, my friend. I'm honored to see you in Tom's Army now for over 1 year. What a cool badge. Along with Crazy Paul and Tanya, welcome in love. All three of you in Tom's Army for over 1 year. Good morning to all of you. There's Mr. Stott, 3 months plus with the XP Meteor. Tin Bender Bear. I remember Tim Bender Bear is, that's Mr. Stott. So Mrs. and Mr. Stott are in here. It's awesome to see. Robert, good morning. Dan says, praying for a great day for all of you. Thank you so much. I pray for that for you as well. As our Lord and Savior, Yahweh and Yeshua is present amongst us, God himself is active within this conversation because more than one speaks the Lord's name. That's the righteous. Jay Freemix, welcome in. Steve Rose, good morning. Tom, want to get lunch when I swing through Michigan sometime. Yeah, I encourage, hey, send me a message. I'll put my email out. Send me a message, and you never know. You never know. If you're around this side of town, I've met a couple people in the audience, believe it or not. Um, Unexpectedly a couple times, but I didn't realize that people would recognize. Well, I guess I should start realizing it, but send me an email. That's Julie's account that I'm using on this tablet. So send me an email, and then if you're ever around town, man, it would be awesome. I like Michigan. Let's get Michigan. Yes, sir. Swirl View, welcome in, and thanks for being in town on our 6+ months with the XP Predictor. So what we're doing this morning is we're trying to see if this breakout's going to confirm. And I still think as long as we don't get a sell signal here, which could be a rejection at this area, believe it or not, we're going to come up to this 200-day. It almost feels like we should. I know we had one quick push up, but it almost looks like it's going to be a liquidity area. But we need to make sure that this doesn't reverse on us, because obviously, being the morning that it is, being Saturday morning, we still have one more thinly traded day before Sunday comes on in the futures. So it can always be tricky here. I'm never going to say it's not going to be dicey. I look at a few other things, like I still look at V-chain. If you're not in a spot V-chain position, watch these dives, because it's possible we could have put in a topping reversal here with a double top. And then because we have the escrow dump, that this is just a fake out this morning, which I wouldn't be surprised if this is setting up in a fake out this morning. And then we pull down just a little bit. But I want to really see if this is a setup here before that escrow dump and we get some volatility. Maybe XRP gets it and not the whole market does. But it really seems like even if we just exhaust ourselves here, XRP, if it bounces off this area, you should have about a 4 to 5% exhaustion spike. And then if that holds, I mean, you could talk about all the way up to that 244, which is about 11%. I'm really starting to look at that because of what happened with Quant. And I understand you can't, make a bona fide statement just based on what something else did, because things don't rhyme. They don't repeat, but they often rhyme. So I've been looking at this since the start of the weekend. A consolidation day yesterday, which is why I told everybody out of leverage, was a perfect closure from what we did Thursday and Friday. Yesterday, you close it out during the day, let it spike down like we have across the board, and now you start to look to see if opportunity presents itself. Now, it's tricky. Yesterday, we talked about even with Lania, and we could have sold out, which maybe I should have, maybe I shouldn't have. But we talked about the double top rejection out of this little rising area, which could backtest all the way down here. You would expect some kind of volatility back to the top side before a universal breakdown. So what we're banking on is this could be an inverse head and shoulders that ultimately powers through up to the 200-day at 124. Could be a universal thing. Daily starting to push down here, which is breaking a little bit to the downside. That's a big candle, though. So a lot to be determined here. Like, this is not a straight up and down scenario. It really isn't. We talked about SHX, how it needs to dump down to like the 1-0 level possibly. First area we had was 11855, believe it or not. That was our first area of consolidation. Unfortunately, we've come back into that area. In real time, it's more like up here. But I like to keep it at the 1185. I think I had it somewhere around there. If we hold the 20-day, we're good. This would be a golden cross confirming. And if this holds, you're talking about coming up to like the 2-cent mark, 175 to 2 cent area. No, 185 or 178 to 2 cents. We bought in at 0078. So I mean, like, or 0079, we'll say. So I'm very happy about this. Another thing I'm happy about is I see we broke through the 47,200 subscribers. In fact, we broke through 47,300, 47,400, now over 47,500 this morning. So we're finally starting to push back. We were in a very heavy resistance the last 2 months. Once we broke above 47,000, we could not break through 47,300. Every time I got close, we would lose a series of subscribers to gain new subscribers, to lose those subscribers, to gain even newer subscribers. Or it could just be people unsubscribing and then resubscribing. But it's been beautiful. Yeah, Shane, I think Quant 2 is going to shock a lot of people. I've been saying it for a long time. And we had a fantastic trade in Quant that I closed because it was a leverage trade, but it was beautifully set up. I closed it yesterday because I didn't want to sit through the consolidation because it was up here. But now it looks like it's consolidating perfectly. Like, it's consolidating perfectly. That 93.77, it came back through. Maybe it comes back down to 88 if it has to fall back down. But we're eyeing, everybody. Pay attention. Quant's eyeing this move up to 144 in this pattern. I've been very, very on the ball about this. You know, this is coming up there at some point, and then eventually it's going to break out to 311, and then further probably. This is just the beginning for Quant. I think Quant is one of those that can go 4 digits in time if it plays out properly. If it plays out properly. So yeah, Shane, I don't disagree with that at all. In fact, Quant runs this whole system. If it wasn't for Quant, you wouldn't have the integration nor the viability for things like XRP, the ISO, the IOT, and everything that comes around it. With IOTA, we're at 1135, just even. I'm not sure there's another leg down. We consolidated perfectly right now, but engulfing in the daily, obviously, so that's never a great sign. 4 hourly's massively oversold. So it's one of two choices. Either we come down here to 101 and retest this downtrend, which we've already hit 3 times, which is great because it's in this little, I would say this is more like a falling channel, almost like a flag setup, we could say. But we've got several areas of resistance. We've got to come past. I would say in real time, we set this up. We can see it now. We don't even have to guess. This is the resistance. So we need to come past over here to break out of this. And once you get past, and it's crazy, once you get past 1208, you come up to 1365. So now there is the optic. Yes, of course, it could come down here a 4th time at 101. And if it breaks that, we're down to 784. But if that happens, this is not an indictment just on IOTA. This would be across the board. This would be an indictment across the board on crypto. So yeah, it's definitely something to pay attention to, in my opinion. But 4 hourly, we are getting massively oversold. This is what I like to see in stochastic for a quick reversal. Like, I'm not feeling too nervous about this morning. I'm seeing setups of we dumped out, and now we very well could start reversing here. Like, I'm seeing it not just in XRP or Ethereum. I'm seeing it across the board. Look how oversold we are on the 4 hourly. That's insane. That's insane. Every time our V-chain's this oversold, it has a nice reversal. Last time it was this oversold, we were sitting at basically on Friday at 1250, and then we bounced up to 14, 1.4, I should say. I don't know. It almost looks like a strategic possibility here, but at the same time, with it being the day it is, I know it looks good, but I wouldn't do anything until we get some volatility here. I prefer some volatility before we make some moves. How about that? Is that okay to say? Like, I want to see some volatility here. But it is setting up in a pretty interesting way here. So we'll see if we can hold this area or if it ends up powering us down. But I like this. I like this. There's a lot of content here right now. There's a lot of scared. There's a lot of FOMO and fear on the wrong days, I feel like. Crypto Fear and Greed Index. Oh my God, it went up to 28. That's not good. I would have preferred for it to dive down a little bit. Okay, so some people are starting to get a little bit more greedy here. So we'll see what happens. It is setting up, I think, in an opportunistic way. Now, if we get rejected here, if this is working on a rejection in this spot, well, that's bad. There's no doubt about it. If it rejects here, it's not a good thing. Because if we reject here, then obviously we got to come back down. But it is setting up, I think, in a interesting way. 2 hourly's trying, but that pull down here, it's not a rejection. It's just a pull down here a little bit to validate this move if it's going to. It's very tricky. We're in a very dicey spot because you could say we topped here maybe too. So, and then if we did, we just have to come down to further consolidation. But I don't know, man. I like opportunity. I like it. What does the audience think? What does the audience think? Only a 20 fear on coin market cap, I think. Interesting. Yeah, VeChain chain is definitely going to survive long term. It's one of the strong tokens with the Internet of Things. XRP rising channel in the 1 hourly. Good eye. That's what I like to hear. Good eye, whoever just said that. That's one of the scaredy points. That's definitely one of the one of the things that would hold us back here, in my opinion, is just the way it's setting up with no volume. That could knock us back down. But I mean, if you're looking at it from a standpoint, I mean, you could look at it almost like a channel, but when you're looking at this, the problem is like you really have to look at it like this. Like you would have to look at it like this. And then you have to try to determine how you look at that top resistance, because we did form a little bit of a consolidatory pattern, but do you go wick to wick? Do you go like this and say, well, maybe I would probably look at it like this. I mean, this is the way to confirm or deny this breakout possibility. I mean, that's basically in a nutshell what we're stuck in right there. That's exactly what we're looking at right there. Now, yeah, you could pull this over the top. I don't necessarily know if this is proper TA, though, unless we go for the inception style. So if we break out, you know, you'd have to get back over the top, which actually makes perfect sense because that's the 200-day and the 4-hourly if we break up. So there's your layering right there. I started this chart so that we could do it in real time, and then we can just delete all of the info and redo it day to day. I think that is probably what's happening. Would love to grab a bite together, but it's about 4,660 miles for me from Valkenburg, South Limburg, Netherlands. Oh, JBHK, you've been around for so long. Very trusted mod. You're definitely somebody I'd love to get a meal with. I know we're like opposite ends, it feels like, of the world. At least of the, well, Earth. A lot of my audience is on the other side of Earth, believe it or not. Yeah, 60% of my audience is in the USA, but the other 4 out of 10 are scattered around the world or on Earth. It's pretty cool. I would wait for confirmation. So if you're looking for a trade, this is what I would look at. And look, the good thing is the volume in the hourly is increasing. That's what you want to see. You want to see rising volume in the hourly. Then when you get on a consolidatory candle, you want to see that volume crash. Rising price, rising volume, consolidatory candle, crash. That's actually a perfect recipe right now for a continuation based on volume portfolio. Just posted my rising. Ooh, perfect. Thank you, Garbanzo. We'll look into this. If you guys are in Tom's Army and you're part of the Telegram, 497 members as we spotted a few scammers. So we're back under 500. But for good reason. I'm getting rid of them as they come. So whether you think that you're above the law or not, if you're a dick, if you try to scam your fellow peers, you get 0 warnings. I've told everybody. The only warning is there are no warnings. You're out if I deem it necessary. So I had to kick a few people out myself. Sorry to find, but I did. Well, I drink a Guinness. I don't like beer, honestly. I may take a shot of whiskey. So that's something I might do. Just post. Oh yeah, Garbanzo, the rising channel. But yeah, stay under 500. Absolutely, Mr. Shane. But yeah, I have everybody's best interest in heart, just like my own. I like your rising channel though. If you look at it that way, I like how you put that, because technically that is accurate, because you could come through that. I see what you did there. You could come through this. I actually do like that, because yes, I made this into this is probably what it would end up being, my friend. If it was a rising channel, FYI, I think it would end up turning itself into something like this. And in the end, you could see how this could play out. Still in like almost a rising triangle. I don't know if it's a rising wedge. But I like how you set it up, because if you take this one step farther, you take the wick, you find the wick, you find the wick. You could do it more like this maybe, or you could do it over the top like this. You know, so I absolutely can see where you're going with this. I'm just trying I'm trying to see the shorter side of it for this consolidation, because it's a 3-step layering, kind of like what you did, Garbanzo. I love it. I do love it, how you set that up, because it shows the perfect depiction here, because it looks like, to me, we're setting up. And I know it's in this little rising channel. It could be. But look where we're at in the metrics. Even with that downtrending resistance, we're trying to break through the 0.382, I believe it is, at $2.20.2 in the Fibonacci. It's perfectly placed how you have it. It's a key indicator. Either that's a rejection point or that's going to be a springboard up to the 0.78. Probably the 127 retracement. Nah, probably slightly below that. I think it could get us just above the 786, but we'll be testing 228 if we go up in that perspective. But Garbanzo, this is invaluable information you shared to the Telegram. I know you say you're learning and all this, but your charts are getting much better. I'd like to not credit myself with that. I think MQ and Nick and the ones in the Telegram are doing a phenomenal job. If you want to give me credit, you can, but I'd rather put it on the other members who are dedicating and putting out all this information. So I appreciate the universal attempt we're making as a community to try to get this right. Try to get this right. It's not easy, but I think we do a phenomenal job here together. I'd put this community up against any other community as far as transparency, as far as the way we help each other, and as far as the way we try to teach each other. It's phenomenal. I haven't seen anything like what we have. So, and it's taken 4 years or almost 5 years now to build that community. And it's very specialized. So not everybody's in, because I don't want everybody in. I want the right people. I told you that one day I would love to contribute to this community. You did, and you said that you were studying, and you said when you were ready you would share. And I'm so happy that you're sharing and you feel comfortable enough to share. Because even if we don't do things properly, the only way to learn is to try to share what we know, and then somebody else who understands it can share what they know. Right now we're slowly pushing up like we want to see. We're back over that area. I think we're setting up nicely. Now, there's no guarantee, but I do think we're trying to set something up. Now, where would I say? I think it's just like we've been talking about. If it doesn't pan out, I would say if we lose this wick at 219, that could be a problem. But I still want to say, as long as we're up over this area, I don't think there's necessarily it's too bad. Like this is, I like where we're at right now. I know I keep saying it this morning, but I like the optics of the chart this morning. I can't help it. It's not just XRP. I like the optics. I like the optics when the 4-hourly gets massively oversold like it is. Because that suggests that we could be, bottoming for the moment. It doesn't mean that it's the bottoming phase. It doesn't mean that it's over. But if this is for Axelar, in the next 57 minutes, you should see this start pulling back towards the middle. And maybe if this flips its own little thing, and yeah, it's pushing down here because it's making this reversal candle. That's a long leg doji forming. Technically, I mean, it's pretty much down as far as it can go if this is a reversal candle. FYI. Now, if this is a breakdown candle, well, yeah, it could get ugly. But if this is a reversal candle in the 4-hourly, this is about as far as, I mean, it could come a little bit farther, but it's about as much as it's going to do. So, Tanya's got a buy order on V-Chain for 012396 to swing low. Let's take a look at that. And Tanya's very smart. So I'd put her up there with one of the smartest women I've ever met when it comes to crypto. Probably, yeah, single-handedly changing the dynamic of the narrative when people say that our female or the female audience in crypto or in finance don't understand. I disagree. I think they keep their emotion in check a little bit better than the guys in our audience and actually lead us into a more transformable movement. Let's see. You said 12396. Let's see how this would set up. So here's what we need to get out of, okay? Tanya and everybody else watching. We can put this in something like this with V-Chain. And I actually prefer it. I know I could take it from a lower level, but I know in my heart that when I look at this, this is really the only thing that matters. And in fact, it's the reason why we're playing the way we are right now. Because if that's a rise, like this is what we have, short-term possible rising. Remember Axelar? We have what looks like short-term rising wedges possibly. And it's okay. It's okay. The wedgie isn't going to be the worst thing in the world. But if they are short-term rising wedges, and yes, we probably have to get a retest up here at 139. But look at what Tanya said. 12396 out of a rising wedge breakdown from where it's at. Let's just say it breaks down from here. You want to talk about understanding the charts and understanding the setups. I didn't say she's the smartest female that I've met in here, or at least in crypto, for a reason. I wasn't lying. Like, look at that drops from the 1-3. Look where that's at. 1-2-5-0. Tanya has it at 1-2-3-9-6. Like, how perfect is that? I mean, that's perfect. She did it 100% perfectly. That's unbelievable. And that's what I'm talking about with the level of understanding with this community. Now, obviously, if it breaks down up here, maybe it'll be a little bit higher, but that just in itself is setting it up right in her sweet spot. So it's a lot of cryptos like this. Let's see what XRP is showing, because I don't think XRP necessarily. It's going to be interesting. Let's just say this, guys. If we want to avoid that scenario with XRP, let's go into our day chart. I got to remember we can use the day chart. Here's the day chart. XRP slightly different. It opened up the door to a push up here, I think. This is setting up almost like a... Okay, let me ask an honest question. Does that look like a rising wedge here or a rising triangle at the back part? Now, I know I could squeeze this into something different, but it doesn't really fit XRP the way it's set up. It doesn't really fit it. I was a bet, man. I feel like we're going for a retest of the top side across the board. Even with like V-Chain, I could see it retesting before this next... We got to retest the breakdown. So wouldn't it make sense to retest the breakdown somewhere up here? 1395. What kind of movement would that be on this Saturday? And who knows? If it does that, it might just fall right back down, right? It's a thinly traded weekend. Let's see. Let's just say it comes up here and retest. That's about a 4% move across the board if we come back to the top. It's almost like this would be the opportunistic spot because nobody would be zoning this spot unless you're looking at the retest of the breakdown. This is interesting. This is very interesting market movement. Holy shit, I got to get ready here soon. I got to get my title belts out of the room. My brother's going to be here probably. Funny, it was 42-22-222. My brother will probably be here in the next, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes if I had to guess. Because we're going to go to my dad's to watch the game. So we're going to wind this down here. Being that it's Michigan, Ohio State, you know, there's just some things that happen. Got to go to my dad's. You know, my dad turns 67 on December 10th. Then I turned 42 on December 17th. So, you know, you don't know how many years you get with your parents, so you kind of got to take advantage of it, especially the older they get. So I feel very happy and honored that I get to go watch the game there, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. 1970 legend. Have I seen him in the audience today? Probably not. He's probably all in with Ohio State today. But yeah. Oh, Shane, I wanted to show you something since you're in here with Quant. Something that I noticed. So it's actually an interesting when I brought this pattern out, Shane. I did it on my phone. So let me delete this so you can see it in real time. I did this. I was thinking about you when I was trying to do this analysis outside of the show, and I was just kind of looking at it. And I think you'll be interested in this, to be honest. So, and I know it looks kind of jank right now, right? Because it had this wick down, it's pulling around. But when I started to mess with this just a little bit off of center, and I started to really think outside the box. So yeah, you can look at support. So we'll just kind of do this like Inception, Shane, so that you can see this from every dynamic. So if you do it like this, yeah, we've set up a support, which is fine. And then you start looking at it like this, because then if you're looking at it support, you got to start from the resistance to the resistance to the resistance. So you can see the technical breakout on the short-term narrative. But almost like Inception style, we've created this. But now I wanted to expand it from the wick low last night to this support. So we have the support, which would be a low, a higher low. And then you see where the cross is? Pretty interesting because we could very well be on the uptrend now. But it's almost like now you got to look to see if that's the case and you're starting something like that. Where is that resistance coming from? I think it gave it to us. I think it gave us a 3-layer resistance. One, wick, down. That's 1 layer, which if you look at it right now, which I find fucking, fascinating, is the fact we're over the top of that layer. And the other part is that it back tested the layer below. So come through this consolidation, out, back test. Failed here, came up all the way down to support, up to the uptrend, validating this new uptrend, back up, back test the breakout, back up, trying to reevaluate the breakout from its higher resistance, which would confirm the breakout. And then it comes down to this. And this is where I thought it was the most interesting, because this is where you could be in fake out territory. So you go resistance here. This is kind of like if you pay somebody, they'll do the fan. Don't pay them. Do the fan yourself. There's no reason to pay somebody for the fan indicator if you don't know how to do it yourself. That's the whole point. You got to know how to do this. So now we created the fan ourselves. You see what's going on? You got a fan of resistance. These are your layers. So I found it absolutely just intriguing, at the least, to see it like this, because look how we're universally going through not too big of push outs, not too big of push downs. In fact, we came here to validate the uptrend at 69.22. Just look at this real quick, Shane. I'm not trying to bore everybody, but look how we layered. Then we broke out, back tested 82.91. Whoops, I don't want to clone that. Broke out again up to here, back tested 92.24. Look how we're doing this perfectly if this continues. And now if it comes up one more layer, we're literally coming down now, or coming to the point where if we get over this, Shane, at 101.40 and hold, we're opening up the door to a really big push out to 140. And that's just a better way of looking at it within the pattern. Like, I absolutely love looking at it like this. In Garbanzo, this kind of goes up what you were saying as well with XRP, how it's starting to layer into different patterns. This is how we can get ahead of this chart, though. This is how we can stay ahead of these and be like, okay, I think we're on the right track here, even when it looks very volatile. So now XRP is over 221.2. Remember, it was at 219, 218. We were talking about layering into these positionings on the chart. That's what we're trying to do right now. We're layering in. That's why I have the micro. So I call this the micro of the micro. You know, this is the micro of the micro. It broke into an expanded micro, but this is how we know if it's going to push out. It starts universally pushing out. We know the 200-day comes next, followed by 241.6, followed by, if that breaks out, I think we're in this megaphone pattern, whether it's bullish or bearish, you can decide. So it should bring us to 264. And then we have a technical target right now with this consolidation we have that is actually aiming towards that $3 level up at 292. So this is all the ways that this could transcend itself in a very, and I mean very quick fashion. Very quick fashion. But I'm going to go get myself ready. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I thank you all so much for spending this morning time with me. I hope I was oh, wait a minute. Before I leave, I got to look at XLM and XDC. It's something I'm trying to stay committed to. And XLM's in the same ballpark here. Remember we talked about the consolidation yesterday, back testing this move. It's back tested it. Now, if we stay above 248, we're looking very solid coming up to that 27.33. So that's what I'd be looking at. A 24.8 hold comes up to 27.3 cents roughly. And the rest of the market, we're looking at 4 to 5% at minimum. If this actually plays out, for XLM, that would be approximately 8.5%, 9% from where we're at. No, 7.5% conservatively. So, opportunity could be a calling, everybody. Opportunity comes a knocking. You might have to go a stocking, right? You might have to go a stocking when we are rocking. But silver, pay attention to the... Oh, wait a minute. We got to do XDC real quick. And then I want to talk about silver for just a split second. And then I got to go. XDC, we continue to buy it when it's under 10 cents. It's hugging this 5.4 resistance. When it gets over that, it's going to be spectacular. If it wants to come down, it could come down to 5.17, but it looks like it's going to start leveling out to 5.59. But it is a day behind, remember. Usually XDC is 1 day behind. But I'm very, very opportunistic here. I feel opportunistic with the understanding of what could come. And then silver, CME halted for first time in like 11 years. It was insane. The biggest one I've ever seen. So CME trading restored the wrap up week after hours. So outage overnight hasn't stopped gold and silver. They were trying to say that there was a computing error somewhere in the USA, which is all bullshit. So global futures markets were disrupted for several hours on Friday after CME Group, the world's largest exchange operator, suffered one of its longest outages in years, halting trading across stocks, bonds, commodities, and currencies, as as well as other products, and resumed after having been knocked out for over 11 hours. You think that's coincidence? I don't think so. The CME blamed the outage on a cooling failure on data centers run by Cyrus One, which said its Chicago area facility had affected services for customers, including CME.O. The disrupting stopped trading in major currency pairs on CME's EBS platform, as well as benchmark futures for West Texas Intermediate Crude, WTI, NASDAQ 100 Nikkei, palm oil, and gold, according to LSEG. So trading volumes have been thinned out this week by U.S. Thanksgiving holiday, and with dealers looking to close positions for the end of the month, the outage posed a risk of spurring volatility, market participants said. So if you want government interference with crypto, you lost an unregulated market to regulated bullshit, and there it is in first hand. That's first eye. So just pay attention to all that nonsense. Don't beg them to regulate this market unless you just want to get screwed over. So I thank you all. If you're looking to trade, whether tier 1 exchange or not, in the video description below in our pinned comment says TOOBIT, WEEX, and BITUNIX. I encourage you probably to stay away and go into WEEX and or TOOBIT. Probably WEEX. If you want to do a KYC especially, it's good, better for the USA. Even TOOBIT works good, but I have them set up for different things. So just pay attention to those links. Join me on Facebook if you're looking for a tier 1 exchange like I use for IOTA and some of the other ones that I like. It's KRAKEN, but do KRAKEN Pro. And other than that, if you want to send a donation, PayPal or Venmo outside of YouTube, you can send a super chat, join Tom's Army, and so many different things. My yard now. I pray for your dad's, as you said, he passed sometime in the past, that he has continued salvation with our Lord and Savior. So be blessed, everybody. Embrace